What do you do when your best friend kills your other best friend? I mean, loyalty is due to Susan, but it's also due to Bob.
And a man who killed his friend in an intentional hit-and-run crash will spend at least the next 10 years behind bars. This is Ethan Chavez. He was 20 at the time of the crash, which happened back in 2022. Police say he worked with the victim, who was 23-year-old Armani Williams. Now, prosecutors say Chavez threatened Williams over text message before he intentionally hit him with his car in a Northeast Valley neighborhood. Chavez took a deal to serve up to 25 years.
Top of what was breaking news earlier this evening, a homicide investigation in Potomac, Maryland. Investigators say a man walked into a police station and admitted to killing a family member. DC News Now's Dave Laval joins us from Tribunal Lane after speaking with neighbors. Dave, what's the scene like right now?
Well, neighbors told us that the house behind me is where the crime took place. Montgomery County Police say the person who committed the murder is related to the victim. Police said they arrived at this home just after 8 o'clock this morning and found a woman with trauma to her body. She died at the scene despite efforts to save her life. A man is said to have walked into the Rockville police station later in the morning and confessed to the crime. There's been no word on a motive. The woman's body has been turned over to the medical examiner, who will determine how she died. Investigators have not released her name or the name of the suspect. We're live in Potomac, Maryland. Dave Laval, DC News Now.
And Brandon, tonight, still more questions and answers from Mesa Police. Investigators won't say who the shooter is or what led up to the shooting. But what we do know, the terrible events from last night have left over a pain that this community is feeling right now. The unspeakable violence in this home can be heard from this neighbor's cell phone video. And the aftermath of pain can be felt from an uncle of this family tragedy.
Well, it doesn't break. I lost my brother, I lost my nieces, I lost my sister-in-law.
Police say 3 family members all died in a murder-suicide.
It's brutal.
Marco Sanchez is the brother of 51-year-old Ruben Sanchez, who was previously married to 49-year-old Ana Guerra. Both of them found dead with gunshot wounds on the first floor of the house, and their daughter, 18-year-old girl Amy Sanchez, was found dead on the second floor. The discovery by police came after a call of shots fired. A 12-year-old girl luckily escaped with a gunshot wound by running to the next-door neighbor's house. Now neighbors are honoring their lives. One man even brought his children to pray for them.
It's a life. It's 3 lives. I mean, if you don't feel something, then you need to look inside yourself.
It means something to this community where the hope is that these candles outshine the darkness of this puzzling violence. And tonight, that lone survivor, that little girl just 12 years old, is recovering from the mayhem that ensued last night. Family tells me she was shot in the arm and she suffered a concussion. You saw her there in the story with a bandage over her head, giving a thumbs up. We're told that she's surrounded by a lot of family and prayers. Back to you in the studio.
Right, it all happened inside that apartment right there behind me. The family told me that the boyfriend of 43-year-old Malian Johnson shot her, 3 other family members, including 2 young children, and then turned the gun on himself.
Taking it just second by second, day by day.
Chanel Carter still feels the shock and trauma. She says when she had not heard from her mother and soon-to-be sister-in-law, she went to her mother's DeKalb County apartment with a police officer and made a gruesome discovery.
I noticed the body on the floor, and one of my niece, either my niece or my nephew, was on the bed. And that's when I ran to the front, and I kind of showed her the front door open, and the first thing I seen was the body on the couch.
5 people shot dead. Carter's mother, 43-year-old Malian Johnson, her mother's boyfriend, 32-year-old Jonathan Darden, 26-year-old Kaylin Samuels, and Carter's niece and nephew, 5-year-old Jadora Powell, and 1-year-old Jontavius Powell. Neighbors were left in disbelief on Saturday.
It gives me anxiety kind of because like I literally live right next to it, and just to think that 2 kids could lose their life is kind of like traumatizing.
Police believe Darden shot and killed the family before he turned the gun on himself. Carter tells me her mother was about to break up with Darden just before the shooting.
What really is starting to mess with me is how much you don't know a person, because it turns out that my mom had texted one of her friends telling her that if anything was to happen to her, it was him who did it.
Now, as Carter prepares to say goodbye to 4 family members, she has this message for anyone trapped in a dangerous relationship.
Cut out as soon as you can.
And police still don't have a motive in this case. As for the family, they started a GoFundMe account to help pay for all of those funerals. We went ahead and posted that link to our website. That's WSBTV.com. You can go there if you would like to help. We are live here tonight in DeKalb County. Audrey Washington, Channel 2 Action News.
On day 5 of this trial, the court heard from 2 psychiatrists. The first, Dr. Panchu Xavier, for the defence, told the court that the defendant, Dylan Thomas, had, in his view, been suffering from symptoms of psychosis for many, many months before the incident on Christmas Eve. Dr. Xavier was asked about a letter the defendant had written to Elon Musk, in which she claimed to have invented an anti-gravity device and found a solution for the world's energy crisis. And then in November last year, the court heard about an incident in which Dylan Thomas had tried to climb a 14-foot-high wall at Buckingham Palace. He did this, he said, to explore the energy field between the palace and another London landmark. Now, these were all symptoms, the doctor said, of a worsening psychosis. When it came to the events of Christmas Eve, Dr. Xavier said Dylan Thomas was convinced he was going to come to harm at the hands of Mr. Bush, and that's why he responded as he did, and that whilst Dylan Thomas might be lying about what had happened, his behaviour could be explained by his mental illness.
But Richard, the jury heard from an expert with a different view.
Yeah, that's right, Andrea. This afternoon, the court heard from a second psychiatrist, Dr. Dylan Jayawik Rama, who saw Dylan Thomas following his arrest last Christmas Eve. Dr. Jayawik Rama told the jury that he agreed with Dr. Xavier that Dylan Thomas was suffering from an abnormality of mind, but he also found that he couldn't find any psychotic explanation for what had happened on Christmas Eve. Dr. Jayawik Rama said that in his view, the defendant's illness did not significantly impair his ability to understand what he was doing, to make rational judgments or to exercise self-control. Now, Dylan Thomas was appearing via video link from Ashworth High Secure Hospital, where he continues to be treated for schizophrenia. He's previously admitted to manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility, but denies murder. And Andrea, the case continues.
Yeah, I said, okay. You kill somebody. I didn't tell him, guy. I didn't tell him, guy, want to kill someone, because the plan was not to kill someone. What was the plan? I said, guy, me and this my guy want to carry out one deal in the evening. That was what I said. I said, you go show. He said, if the deal involve money, I said, involve money, you go show. He said, okay, go show. That was what the thing. That's why I said, he understand when I said it was a deal. Say you go show. So it's not the deal to go to Tantala. That's why I say he understand. That's what I'm trying to say.
You never said he had a plan.
Now, he said I never said he had a plan. Asking this question. When the to know what I'm saying is the truth here to confirm my sincerity. When he came in the evening, when the soldier came, I told the soldier that this is the driver to my boss. He concur, cause in the evening when he came, in the morning when he came, I've already narrated. I told him then that's why the soldier allowed him to drive the car. The soldier said, is this the driver? He said, the one that bought the car. The soldier also now gave him the key. So it's not something maybe I'm trying to complicate the matter. I said all the facts to the police there, so I'm not trying to cover up any issue.
Your boss had been stabbed before you decided to move the car away.
Yes, he has been stabbed. Actually, it's a white car. He just bought the car that day. It was Kelechi.
Okay, sorry. Let me ask you. At the point where you've already killed your boss before you came to him.
Yes. To come outside. Yes.
Not at the scene.
He was not at the scene.
He was at the back.
He was at the back.
But excuse me, when you told me to drive and we left with the vehicle, did you tell me that your boss is dead? To be sincere, did you tell me anything about that?
I didn't tell him my boss is dead. To be sincere, I didn't tell him. What I didn't tell him, I won't come here and say I didn't tell him, because why? Once he knew about the plan. So when he came, he didn't know the initial plan. Maybe we'll kiss on. His own was just that money was involved. So that was it. So when he came, it was at the hotel we were supposed to tell him. But when Kelechi lied down on the bed and I was sitting down, he was just taking his beer. Then Kelechi was cracking his head to look for the next step to do. So that was it.
Okay, so he didn't know. Wait, my dear, he didn't know that you were out to kill.
He didn't know we were out to kill.